So I'll try to do as many as I can here, guys. But like I said, it's tax day. I'm pressed for time this whole entire month. I'll go through the three coins that I usually go to: Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol, and then we'll take a look at a few strong coins. And I gave a whole bunch of setups basically on my Twitter account last night, if you guys caught it. But um, this was one of them. So this still applies, by the way. Um, I was looking at this order block here for Bitcoin, and this was the highs for Saturday. This was the Monday high. This was the Monday low. We swept the highs into that order block, and now we're most likely going for the Monday lows. What I want to see for Bitcoin is I want to see the same exact thing here. I want to see a deep wick. I don't know if we'll get a doji like we did. Let me go to a higher time frame. And I'm going to actually outline this whole entire area. Okay, so here is the support that we were holding. Here is the double bottom deviation. We put in our first higher low here. I want to see a dip into this 82K region. And I'm going to go back to the 2-hour here. This may get front ran a little bit higher, but I'm hoping for a deep wick just like we did with that doji. And longs around 82 down to 80K are a good area to get into. Most likely we will sweep the Monday lows, which is around 83.7. And then we have untapped liquidity here at 82 or 83K. Setting up longs from 80. Someone's breathing down my neck. 82 down to 80K with stops below 79.5. And honestly, I target the highs that we put in March. Okay. Now with this play, this would most likely be some type of soft stop loss because I don't know what the government is doing, but they're toying around right now. So we could see a nasty wick like this. When we get to this area, this is a must hold area. But if we close a 4-hour, um, back under 80K, that's most likely going to be a manual cut. Actually, let me see. Yeah, a 4-hour close under 40K most likely sends us lower. And if we do close it, it's going to just be a break of structure. And the area where we're going to bid once that closes is going to be back at these lows here around 75K. I'm still inclined to think that these are the local bottom. Now, I am not bullish on Bitcoin whatsoever. Like I said, until we get above that 92 to 95K. But if I were to go to a different chart here, and I'll put this in chat. If we do, by the way, just like how we swept these highs, if we sweep these highs and do an SFP, that is definitely a short as well. Stop loss above whatever wick is created. Let me remove that. And then also keep in mind that we have these two liquidity pockets here, untapped liquidity. If we do an SFP or sweep the highs just like we did here and sweep the lows, that is a scalp opportunity. So wherever that may be, okay, that is also an option. Now, I want to show you guys this. Okay. So we had the breakout right? We never had a retest here. This candle, if it closes like that, is disgusting. But I want to show you guys that the next level that we have to clear for a bullish structure break is going to be this 87.5K. And again, I covered this in my video and I'll explain why. So a line chart excludes all the wicks, right? And if we're talking about, highs, lows with highs and a new low, this is your last previous lower high. So if we have a structure break and close above this, and I don't look at candle wicks, I look at candle bodies, come back down to put in the higher low, then that is where I'm going to most likely scalp long up until this 92 to 95K region. All right. Most likely start shorts from 92.5, ladder all the way up to 95.5, and then that will most likely be the area where I'm looking for some type of giga nuke, right? Until the Fed stops being a bit, or not the Fed. The Fed is great. Until Trump stops being a little bitch, and starts actually being what he's put in office to do, then this is a short market, so any single rally is for shorting. But if we are to break structure, then at that point you are fighting against the trend, right? So if you're taking shorts, it's going to be less than normal position sizing because you're fighting against the trend. But for now, longs are the ones that's supposed to be less than normal position sizing because, like I said, these are just fighting against the trend. So keep that in the back of your heads, all right? This will be the swing short. I want to see us first put in a higher low, right? So break out higher low to give this short or a break of structure. So this is not an active call yet, but I will be calling this short when I get a chance. So let me take a look at ETH really quickly. So ETH, cover this in the video as well, right? We basically put in a double top here. If we get a final push into the supply zone around 1765 to 1830-ish, that's where I'd be looking to short. Everyone is also looking at this level, so it could be an overcrowded trade. Just keep that in the back of your head as well. But this would also be a push into, again, another trend line resistance touch. We have the golden pocket here. So I would be comfortable shorting this SR point. DCA probably to like 1800 and 4-hour, not a soft stop loss here. It's most likely going to be a hard stop loss around 1850. Now this isn't a swing trade, so I'm only going to go in with like 1 to 2% risk. But right now we're flirting with a breakout. Okay, this looks like Sol before it broke out, and that's what I'm going to be covering shortly soon. Okay, when Sol, I thought I had a chart here. Yeah, see, here is what ETH kind of looks like. Then we had the breakout and perfect retest. Looks very similar. So that's why, in my opinion, like, although Bitcoin has gone down, what, 3K almost from, or 2K from the highs, ETH has been relatively stable, which is weird because this usually goes down harder. So we are about to lose the trend line here. Okay, we closed below, most likely turn that into resistance. So I think I saw an analyst, I'm not sure who, gave this short, but this would most likely be a possible short back down to supplies. Now again, it's a little bit riskier here because we haven't really closed. Like I said, we're flirting with resistance here, right? We're approaching support. So this has been holding relatively well compared to Bitcoin. So this one is a riskier short. But if we do get to this order block around 1465-ish, 1470, that is a potential area to long. However, we do have untapped liquidity here. So I did mention this in my video that I made, right? You could enter in very small here at the order block, and then two things can happen, right? Because we do have this, and if Bitcoin does go down to that 80K level, this will definitely go to sweep that, in my opinion. So if you enter in light, you can wait for the sweep to happen, and then reclaim the swing low here, add more to your position, play stop loss below that, or what you can do is find a momentum trade. So if you go in light at entry, you could wait until this does this. It might not go sweep it, but if we do get that momentum back above and does something like that, then you can add more to your entry here and place your stop loss below this support down here. All right, so I'm inclined to go in at entry just a little bit, small entry, and then wait to see what happens. If we close if we close below too much lines. I don't want to be someone from the 80s with the lines of cocaine. If we close below here, right, and turn into resistance, then at that point I'm most likely go ahead and cut for a small loss. That's why I'd be going in, smaller at entry. So two ways you can play that. I would love for that sweep to happen to add more, but we can also play it with a momentum type trade where it goes below, doesn't sweep, come back above, and then continues higher. Now this trend line will continue to go down a little bit more, right? And the next touch, I mean, right now we have broken above it. If you drew it like this, right? But if you draw it like this, no. And there's no wrong or right way to draw a trend line. As long as there's 3 points, I would prefer this one, but it's getting weaker and weaker every single time. All right, so that is what I'd be looking at. Now, a safer trade, a safer short would be the break of structure. Okay, so I know this was a double top, right? This is the last higher low here. So if we break below and we have a break of structure, that is the most safer trade, a safer trade to take, and that is the one that I would prefer than this one because this one it can easily go higher. So I'll put these here as well. For those that don't know my trading style, right? I'm a patient trader, so I set limits, wait for them to hit, or wait for confirmation before going in. Now, like I said, this is a busy month for me in terms of in real life stuff, so taxes. So I haven't really been trading. I'm just chilling in my spot positions, waiting for lower ones to hit, and then hopefully sell the rally in May if we get one. But leverage wise, I really haven't been trading because I've been so busy. Do your taxes. I think it's going to be buy in May and go away. I don't think it's going to be a sell in May and go away. Sol. Okay. Also, one I covered in my video along with my Twitter post last night. So this is a 3-drive pattern that I was hoping we would go higher. Now let me get this up really quickly. One sec. 3-drive. I like showing visuals. Okay. That's not it. Can I not copy this picture? There we go. Okay. So a bearish 3 drive pattern is a rising channel to the top where you have 1, there's your A, there's your 2, right? There's your B. And I was hoping for a push into the supply zone last night to short. We got very close. We were just, $2, $2.50 away. This short is still valid, but currently, and I'll break this down in a lower time frame, we have this demand zone here on the 4-hour. That is a possible place to scalp. This would also be a retest of the not a clean inverse head and shoulders, because I want the neckline to touch, but you do have an inverse head and shoulders that we broke out from, and that would be the retest for it. That is one option to play, and I'll post this in chats momentarily. Second, if we do get a deeper retrace, now, like I said, Sol has been holding relatively well, and that is because its BTC pairing has been strong. Now, BTC pairing also has a head and shoulders in place as well. So we are literally right on it. If we break down here and turn into resistance, we also failed to put in this whole entire move up. We were rallying with higher highs and lows. Okay, we failed to make a lower low. We still have failed to make a lower low, but we put in a lower high. So a closure below here would indicate that we have a lower low. And market structure will be going down. Same thing with Sol. Let me go to a clean chart. I'll have both of these. Yeah, fuck this one. Okay. Here is your head and shoulders. Okay. So short trigger, reject, and your short trigger would look most likely as such. Stops above, and head and shoulders technical targets will be that demand zone. Okay, now this one, I don't like the risk to reward, but that is your technical targets. Here is your demand zone, as I mentioned. This would be an area to scalp. This is a conditional trade, so don't take it just because right now. Okay, and then might as well just put all these charts here. So here is Sol. Here is these ones. And then let's say we get this one, right? And we don't go all the way, then you have another short trigger here, which I described on the last stream that I did as well, is if we come back below and turn this back into supply, at that point we are putting in lower highs and lower lows. Close below here, that is your trigger to short with stops above there, right? And you're going to target down to this order block down there, okay? I'm not really interested in longing here. I'd rather long once this resistance at 135 is flipped to support. That is where I'd be looking to long and then target, as I mentioned in the last video, these highs at 183 or 180-ish, okay? So either I long lower, this is a scalp play, risk no more than 1 to 1.5 to 2%. This one would most likely be some type of swing trade. And then, if we get down here, and by the way, hopefully you guys are long with me on spot. We have an entry of 102. We missed the final TP, but I'd be looking to recompound if we can get close to $100, and then targeting 180. Right? I mean, if Bitcoin is down almost 3K on the day. This went to 134 and only dropped $6. So if we do, math, I know this doesn't always work out 1-to-1, but let's say Bitcoin drops 6K, right? So that is going to be another $12. Will be around like this entry here. So I do like Sol. Sol is holding up well. It's in a range right now. We're going to play the range as such. We reject it right there. So play the range low if we get it, and that's the play. Okay. Before I go into a few suggestions from you guys, I won't be doing all of them. Like I said, I gotta head out soon. Bitcoin dominance, right? Technical targets for this cup and handle hit. Okay, it is still bullish. Now, I do possibly see a bearish div forming. Well, yeah. Okay. So inversely correlated to alts really. If this dips, right, hopefully Bitcoin stays stable or increases slightly and dominance dips, then alts should run a little bit. Now, invalidation of this would be, new highs from here, but this looks like it wants to topple over, not just correlation with Bitcoin price, but if we take a look at UST dominance, okay, we are basically groping this trend line, all right? Multiple touches from this trend line, okay, usually gets weaker and weaker. Either we bounce here, we have been putting in bearish structure on USDT dominance with making lower highs and lower lows. Maybe a short-term double bottom here, but I don't know. It's a range. But the more times we touch this trend line on a higher time frame, the weaker and weaker it's going to get. I'm inclined to think that we get a move down to this giant demand zone where we've been holding. So maybe alts get a small relief rally, but don't keep your hopes up. Anything can happen in the news. But what I want to, I guess, reiterate is we can't always be scared of what's going to happen. We know that we have a maniac in charge and, he likes the attention, but if we keep, withholding from entering setups just by or, based off fundamental and news, then we're never going to make money, right? So either you set up your charts and you have an invalidation and you let the plays play out with, tighter stops or risk lower amounts than normal because, you are unsure of the uncertainty in the markets. That's totally fine, but you just can't be scared to not take trades, because of Commander Cheeto. So what I recommend is if you do want exposure to the upside, then you go ahead and, you buy spot, right? If you are a leverage trader, you lower your position size and you play both ways. My issue hasn't been fundamentals. Same here. My issue has been this spontaneity of, indecision from these people. All right. Damn. Short the rallies. Keep shorting them. What is AVAX? Okay, let's start from scratch. Well, structure is still bearish. Okay. If the daily closes like this, it is a bearish engulfing candle. Textbook wise, we should go down to make new lows. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but let's take a look. Okay, trend line has been lost. One sec. I really like this OB, but that is going to be a long-term play. A short-term scalp will come. This is double topped. A lot of charts have double topped. We are at the neckline for this double top. Now target. I mean, if you are unable to see double tops, you can always flip it. They look like double bottoms, right? Here's a breakout. Technical targets of this double top is going to be, which coincide perfectly with this order block. Now I think this might get a bit front ran, so let's front run it at 1802. I don't know how. I'm gonna remove this. This one is a better long. OB, SR, perfect golden pocket fibs. I'm waiting for a deeper wick to get into it. Now shorts, I mean, this is a clear range that we've been on for the past 3 days. So we have been rejecting from the highs here, getting weaker and weaker. But if we are a range trader, let me put this in chats really quickly. Here is a scalp. Scalp trade. Here's the first lower high that we made, double top, right? We actually have broken structure. Right? About to close below, so another lower high does make sense. And if we go back to drawing trend lines, it lines up perfectly with another retest of the trend line. So that is a possible short to take back down to the neckline down there. Farcoin, I put this in on my Twitter. Leverage play is going to be this one. Again, I would wait for this entry to hit. You have an order block. So double top already formed. Like I said, a lot of charts have double tops. 74 cents is your entry. Now, this is the only lever. I don't like playing this coin because it's super volatile. But if you are looking for a spot position, then this is where you want to add. Okay, around 64 to 55 cents. Okay, I will do 4 more coins. And they're already set here. So after these, I just gotta head out. Let me see. CPOOL. To be honest, excuse me, I think CPOOL kind of runs. The reason for that, OM completely imploded, right? So investors are looking for the next RWA, and this was, you know, a darling at one point. Ran, almost 3x. We have a double bottom forming, however, it is at resistance here. I'd wait, to be honest, until we break the neckline with volume and strength before getting in. We had the clear breakout and retest there. So longing here is very risky. But here is support, right? Here's your clean range. If we do get a bid down into, I would go in with spot, because I think even if it goes up to here, right? It's 150% move. Okay, so it's almost a 3x, 2.5x, but I think buying spot and targeting up here does make sense. Now this looks very similar to, I don't know if you young pups were old enough during the last, or remember this coin during the last cycle. Okay. So I know it's a shorter time frame, right? There is the first move. Here's the first one into a huge falling wedge. Okay. And then if I go to this on the lower time frame, this is actually, I'm not going to do that, but this is actually a double bottom that played out. I said I wasn't going to do it, and I did it anyways. 1, 2, well, triple bottom. 1, 2, 3, breakout, retest. There's the breakout and retest there. 1, 2, back down to 3. This would be another breakout, retest. If it is to move, then you want the neckline to be broken. Here's the neckline, breakout, retest, breakout, retest, and technical targets for, there you go. Slow mover. I wouldn't want this on leverage, but dabbling a little bit on spot makes sense. I'll do bad illusions. I'll just do your CPOOL. I'll let and Raul do link, and then I will do Ondo, and then that will be it. So just like, I don't remember the coin I just did, but again, still a downtrend, right? This trend line for however long is still holding. Okay. I wouldn't call this a parallel channel, because there's nothing really parallel about this. Now I'm just drawing random lines. This looks like a Star Wars character or a droid. Anyways, let's go to a lower time frame. Okay. All right. So very important level to hold here, right? If we do fall back under, we have already broken structure. Here is the order block and demand. I don't like the color red. It needs to hold here. These candles look gross. To be honest, I do think this goes for down here. Now, if I were to draw fibs, it probably lines up over there as well. I don't know how high, but okay. Yeah, front run that just a little bit, stops below. Double top formation here. We have broken the lows, so higher. Okay, this was your last lower high or higher low, sorry. So I think a move into here could be a nice short scalp. Yeah. I it's very hard to long here because this is such a wide order block. Ondo. Man, I haven't checked this out in a while, but my favorite pattern played out on this. The bearish Quasimodo. For those that don't know, let me put you on game. So higher highs. Okay, here's your last higher low. Made a lower low into the previous higher high rejection. That is a short to take. Now, technically, this takes you to down here. One sec. Un momento, por favor. So this takes you down here. Now, good area to hold, 81 cents. Let me draw some fibs. Let me see something. This area needs to hold. I mean, this will go down to make a new lower low, but this area needs to hold. Otherwise, we just completely, this will just be a deviation, and we go back to this range here. Right, so closure below most likely is a short attempt. I do like this order block if we can get it. Shorts, a possible long scalp can be taken here. Risky one, just keep that in the back of your heads. But if we do get another push into probably, I think like these have wicks. So if we wick into here. Front run the actual line just a little bit. Tight stops. A little bit higher. There we go. That's what I'd be looking for in Ondo. Got a DM. Why do you never stream in? Because I am exclusive only to Unity. Alright. Let's take a look. I won't say that surfer's name. Cool. So that's it for me, guys. This one's a short one. Next one is a day after my birthday. I will be hungover, but we're going to have a longer one. But that's it for me.